Welcome. Chat. Let me check the audio real quick. Make sure that we're good. Make sure that we're good. We're checking. We're back online. Okay, we're good. The audio's good. We're gonna be talking about Trump today. We're gonna be talking about the Kansas mayor that's getting deported because he voted while he was a resident multiple times for Trump. We're gonna be talking a lot of spicy stuff today. So welcome. Where everybody's getting in, make sure put a 1 or 2 in the chat. If you guys can hear me good, we're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. TikTok's kind of complicated because apparently I have to play a game in order to go live on TikTok, but I never play games, so I go live in here every time my restriction ends. So we're gonna be talking a lot of spicy stuff that's been happening. They asked Karoline Leavitt, what is the law that requires that there's no survivors? Because she was saying that apparently if you attack a boat that they say has drugs in it, you apparently can double tap and it's not a war crime. But they're justifying it, saying that they were trying to destroy the boat, but they never provide proof, you know? So it's kind of, we're talking about, like I said, the mayor that's facing deportation because a hardcore Republican mayor from Kansas kept voting for Trump, and apparently they caught him, and now he's saying that if he gets deported to Mexico, his life is gonna get ruined. Bro, talk about ironic, right? Talk about ironic. So yeah, it's gonna be some spicy stuff today. Stay tuned for the podcast. Make sure everything is good. My end. Make sure that we are live. Let me see this. Okay. Put this here. Then put this here. Oh, not there. Whoopie-doo. Like Young Thug says. Whoopie-doo. It's funny how that Kansas mayor is talking about how his life is gonna get ruined, facing deportation, because apparently he was voting while he was a resident, and he just applied for citizenship. Let's start with that topic first. Y'all could find the clips later. You know. Let's see. Where is it at? 1 second, guys. Kansas mayor deported. Let's go. Okay, let's go first. I think it was on. Let's see, cold water. Honest mistake. All right, let's get spicy. I'm feeling kind of spicy today. I ain't gonna lie. Put this right here. I don't know why it's doing this. I'm trying to expand, but I'm not trying to expand this thing. All right. Okay, everybody can see it good? All right. Let's get spicy. Coldwater mayor says honest mistake led to voter fraud charges. It was an act that would set him on a path being charged for voter fraud more than 3 decades later. Ceballos, sounds like Caballos. The twice elected mayor of Coldwater, Kansas, says he didn't understand that as a Mexican immigrant, he could not vote in the United States. That's BS. Because once you become a permanent resident, it tells you right there that you're not allowed to vote. You're not a citizen. An honest mistake, he said, by not finding himself in legal trouble that threatens to upend the life he spent half a century building. Doesn't that sound like like what's happening nowadays. All these people are saying he's one of the advocates that was saying to deport everybody, but now that they caught him, where did they catch him? Look. Actually, the Department of Homeland Security caught him because he applied for citizenship. Deportation. Oh, can't even type today. Deportation. DHS. Where is it at? There was no Washington Post. What was the website? Nancy's mayor. Immigration, customize. No, oh my gosh! I want it straight from the horse's mouth. What's the thing? Crap. Oh my gosh! I just had the page 2. Mayor faces deportation. It was straight from DHS. Not Daily Mail. Get out of here. Oh my gosh, what? Homeland Security? Is it Homeland Security? Deportation. Homeland Security. Oh my gosh, what's that website's name? Whatever. So apparently they caught this guy because he tried to get citizenship, right? And once he applied for citizenship, immigration found out that he was a permanent resident voting. He voted for Trump twice. I don't know if this article says that. Okay, and the guy that's charging him is the guy he advocated to get elected for attorney general in his state. Whoopie-doo. So, okay, let's go back. See, look, but in preventing he now faces voter fraud. State attorney general Chris Kobach. I'm scared, he said. I'm not sleeping. But if a prevailing fear among Republicans concerned about voter fraud is that Democrats are encouraging non-citizens to vote to win elections. Ceballos did not fit that mold. Exactly. All the Republicans are saying that the Democrats are encouraging people who are not citizens to vote illegally in the elections. This is a hardcore Republican mayor from Kansas that just caught in election fraud. What is worse than Kobach's charges, he said, is that the Department of Homeland Security is not threatening him to start a legal process called deportation. Oh, Ceballos also thinks he probably voted. Kobach is the attorney general for Kansas. All 4 times Kobach ran for state office. Ain't that ironic? Ain't that one of the most ironic things in the world? You're telling me that you voted illegally for the state attorney that's about to put you charges. Well, they put you charges, and because of that, you're gonna get deported. That's crazy. That is crazy. So yeah, he voted for him 4 times for state office. He thinks that he voted 3 times for President Donald J. Trump. How come the news outlet? You know, I like fair and independent news, because right now, right, voted for how many times he said? 4. He voted 3 times for Donald Trump. Why is everybody quiet now? I just want to know. You guys go so hard on Democrats, right? But now that's your turn. Not a peep out of Fox News. You know? He voted 3 times for Donald J. Trump. He thinks rather knows for sure, his friend says, because the negativity that probably led to this mess. That was for when Democrats say this. Oh, look at them cry, this and that. Oh, he's been a wonderful, outstanding citizen, right? Apparently, this guy is an outstanding citizen, or pretended to be, because now he's facing deportation because he voted illegally for Donald Trump 3 times. He voted for the state attorney 4 times. How come he didn't get caught sooner? You know? Now he's saying that he hasn't seen Mexico since he was 4. How many people have said the same thing? I have never seen it, and nobody pities them. Pities. I can't even talk today, bro. I haven't slept. Nobody resonates with them about their story, because right now what they're saying is that they're deporting people who are actually contributing to society. Most of them, not all of them, because I do agree. Some of them are, we gotta get them out of here, right? The ones that be having crazy felonies, SA, child endangerment, and all that stuff. That I agree. But the people who don't have criminal records, right? I believe they're contributing more. Imagine how many years have they worked, right? Paying taxes, because if you work for a company, unless you're 1099, they're taking taxes away from you, right? Because you don't choose that. They probably put a fake social security number, and the government doesn't care. They'll still take taxes away from that fake social security number, right? So you're telling me, right, that you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars deporting people. Some of the, I'm not saying all of them don't have criminal records, right? But most of them don't have criminal records, and it's been proven, right? And I know what you're gonna say. Oh, they're here legally. Okay, that's a civil crime. That's not like, okay. But imagine how many years there's people here, 30 years contributing to society. No criminal record like this guy, right? How much money have they put into Social Security? How much money have they put into Medicaid? And before people keep telling me, oh, they're abusing, their illegals shouldn't have access to Medicaid and all that. Well, they don't, because they don't have a valid Social Security number. The ones that have been abusing the system are the Venezuelans. That I do agree, Biden did give them Social Security numbers, right? They were feeding off the government. That I agree. Those were moochers. I'm talking about the ones that have been here for 30 years, right? Contributing to society, no criminal record, having a family. They probably put more into the system than most people that now let's not say, what was that? They were making people work 80 hours for food stamps, and they were going bananas about it. Okay, so what's the difference between that story and this guy, right? This Kansas mayor that was a permanent resident that voted 3 times for Donald J. Trump illegally. He voted 4 times for the state attorney. So that must mean 4 local state elections. Now he's saying that he's lived all his life here since he was 4. And he says, I do not speak Spanish anymore. And if I get deported, it will wreck my life. Ceballos doesn't contradict much of what Kobach, sorry if I'm messing that name up, alleges. He came to this country as an undocumented Mexican. Oh my gosh. That's so ironic. He says, he came to this country as an undocumented Mexican. He really did vote as a non-citizen. He thought mistakenly at the age of 20 that all capital letters meant permanent resident, and his often renewed federally issued green card made it illegal for him to vote. Okay, I think this is BS. He definitely knew that you cannot vote with a permanent resident card, because you're not a citizen. You need a certificate of naturalization to vote. And when they mail you this, it says there that you cannot vote because you're not a citizen. So this guy voted 4 times, right? This Kansas mayor, Republican Kansas mayor, voted 4 times for the state attorney who actually pressed the charges on him, and now he's getting removed from the country because he voted in election fraud. He voted 4 times for the same guy that's about to kick him out. He voted 3 times for Donald J. Trump. Now he's saying, right, that he's lived here since he was 4, that he hasn't seen Mexico since he was 4, and I don't speak Spanish anymore. Boy, you're gonna start eating beans soon. If I get deported, it will wreck my life. My point is, I'm assuming this guy's a good guy, right? He's been outstanding. If he's the mayor of Kansas, of a city in Kansas, he must be a good, person, right? Moral character. I don't think he deserves deportation. Because let's give him the benefit of doubt that he actually did mess up and he actually did think the lawful permanent resident is meant that he could vote. Let's just give him the pass. Then we have to give the pass to everybody that's been living here for so many years, raising their kids, their families, their lives. He's okay. So it says he's so popular in Coldwater that voters there have put him on the city council 4 times. The last 2 as mayor of the tiny Southwest Kansas. Kobach could not be reached for comment. It is typical for prosecutors to comment on pending cases. But during the news conference announcing the charges, that Kobach argued that if someone commits a crime, their excuses why they did so aren't going to be relevant. Who wrote this article? Cabello's friends are not take it off and not Ceballos. Ceballos' friends are not taken off and not Ceballos. If deportation happens, I can tell you that Kobach will have trouble showing up here, especially if he has to stay with us for a while. Dennis Sway, Ariel Comanche County rancher, a Republican voter. So these Republicans want this guy to stay because they're saying that he's been good for the town. Like I said, personally, I will give this guy a pass. He probably did not know that he was not a citizen. But there's so many people that this been happening to. That's what I'm saying. I do agree, deport everybody who's done SA, who's done some criminal stuff, felonies, this and that. But if people have lived here for 30 years, have paid their taxes, contribute to society, right? Not being on welfare, not being on food stamps and everything, that they actually contribute to society, let them stay. This guy's, even over here, Kansas is kind of like hardcore Republicans. They're talking good about this guy. And they don't really care that, he voted illegally 4 times or 3 times. Well, 4 times state and 3 times federally, But this rancher's saying to let him be here because he's been good for them. Suez Sago took Joe under his wing to hire him as a mentor. Mostly penniless, but eager calf roping kid ranch hand. He's just partly to blame for Ceballos' trouble. And his real trouble. In the news conference November 5th, Kobach said Cabellos could spend as much as 5.5 years in prison and pay $200,000 fine for voter fraud and election perjury or felonies. Ceballos said now he understands that he broke the law, but he and others in his community wonder what's a fair consequence. The town of 693 people in Southwest Kansas might lose their mayor. After all, as Kobach pointed out, elected officials in Kansas are required by law to be legal electors, meaning legally registered voters. Also, I guess that's where the perjury charge comes from. So now he could even be a mayor because he had to be legally registered. Yeah, this guy's cooked. The Attorney General said that Coldwater City Council might take a look, given that Ceballos would just won every election. Ryan Swayze, a friend of Ceballos since childhood, says his buddy has been snagged in the nets of broken, dysfunctional immigration system. Now they're advocating for immigration reform. Like I said, these articles, I didn't see them on Fox News. I actually saw it on TikTok. And I thought that people were just like clickbaiting me, right? Because I got tagged on it. But then I started looking into it, and this happened November 5th. I didn't even hear about it. It's December 2nd. I usually watch Fox News. I watch a lot of news because I like to report the news too. I did not hear about this, but now this person that lives in this mayor's town says that this is the fault of the migration stuff. Where was I? In the broken function, there are as many as 87,000 plus people living in Kansas as undocumented immigrants. 55,000 are fully employed, paying taxes, according to Pew Research Center. Many of them become part of the fabric of the community, and connections can be ripped out in the process of enforcing long-looked-past laws. It's unclear how many non-citizen immigrants, either legal or undocumented, have registered to vote, but Quebec expects to find hundreds of ineligible voters on the rolls. There's relevant twist to all this, and goes to heart as why his friends think that he's innocent. As I said earlier, Sebastian thinks rather than he knows that he voted for Quebec since the ballots are secret. There's no way to know for sure. Why his uncertainty? Stay tuned. Uncertainty may be key. Multiple friends in Quebec said Sebastian's nativity led to these charges. They all live in a county that voted 80% for Trump last time. They said that the only reason their buddy registered to vote as a 20-year-old who progressed slowly in school was that he wanted to vote for Republicans, like all his friends. Whoops. Peer pressure, huh? But he also says that he was so disinterested in politics that he never bothered to look at candidate names other than look for the letter R besides their names. That's crazy. He got peer pressure into voting for Trump. Kovach was looking for a poster child for his push against fraud. Wow. And so everybody knows this is his picture. Where's this guy? It's not this guy. It's this guy. Where's his? I can't even put his picture, huh? I wonder why they put this pictures of the other guy. I think it was a Newsweek. Let's see, is there a video on YouTube? Actually, I got YouTube right here, actually. Actually, I don't want to lose that one either, so let's put another one. Kansas mayor faces deportation.
A Republican mayor of a Kansas town is facing deportation by the Trump administration after Joe Ceballos, the twice-elected mayor of Coldwater, was charged with felony voter fraud for allegedly registering and voting in multiple elections despite not being a United States citizen. Officials say Ceballos, who immigrated from Mexico decades ago and built his life in this small Kansas community, voted in at least 4 elections as a green card holder, a decision that now threatens to end his time in America entirely. Residents are stunned because Ceballos was widely known as a loyal conservative, a vocal Trump supporter, and a man whose values matched Comanche County so closely that many assumed he was born here. He first won office years ago on a platform of community service and steady leadership, becoming a trusted figure throughout Coldwater and someone people believed represented them well. Now the same strict policies he once supported may force him out of the only home he has truly known, leaving the town to confront the painful reality that hardline enforcement can reach far closer to home than anyone ever expected. A Republican mayor of a Kansas town is facing deportation by the Trump administration after Joe Ceballos,
I want to see a bigger video.
Good afternoon. We are tracking breaking news at this hour. The mayor of Coldwater accused of election fraud. The charges come hours after he secured a second term in office. Attorney General Chris Kobach charged Mayor Jose Joe Ceballos with 6 felonies, 3 counts each of voting without being qualified and election perjury. Kobach claims Ceballos is lawfully living in the U.S., but is a citizen of Mexico, making him ineligible to vote. The AG alleges the mayor illegally cast ballots in the August 2024 primary and November 2022 and 2023 general elections.
In large part, our system right now is based on trust. Trust that when the person signed the registration or signs the poll books saying that he's a qualified elector or that he is a United States citizen, that the person is telling the truth.
We reached out to Mayor Ceballos for comment, but have not heard back yet. The Coldwater City Council, though, released a statement on social media saying the mayor called them in for a special meeting over the noon hour to, quote, discuss recent events that have transpired with the Kansas Attorney General's office. While the recent allegations involving the mayor are understandably concerning, we will allow the proper legal process to take its course.
You know what's crazy? I haven't heard, you know how they usually detain most people? Like ICE comes in and detains him. I haven't heard anything about him getting detained.
Further comments, unquote.
Let's see. Is there a new one? It's 11 days ago. Three months ago. Well, premieres. I was about to premiere soon, 11 days ago. Is there a new one? No, there's nothing. See, as I'm saying, nobody's reporting this. It's crazy. Nobody's reporting that this guy is about big voter fraud. It's nuts. Anyways, let's move on. I just thought it was interesting how now that this guy is a Republican mayor, even though he voted for Trump 3 times illegally as a permanent resident and 4 times in his state elections, I haven't heard a peep from anything Republican like Fox News. Jose Ceballos. Let's see Ceballos. Jose Ceballos. Fox News. Let's see. Jose Ceballos, Fox News. Nothing. Look at that. Ain't that crazy? They're talking about everything in their mama. But Fox News has not put anything about this guy. Ain't that a B? This is why I like independent journalists, because these guys are every news agency is compromised, whether they're too Republican or too Democrat. You know, that's why right now people are not seeing the news, because they can't trust it. Every news agency has an agenda, right? So like Karoline Leavitt has not said anything about this. The bios. Let's see. Anything with Fox News? Nope, nothing. Obviously, CNN is gonna report it. Anyway, let's see. Let's go to Karoline Leavitt. Follow me on my page, GMV Pod. GMV. This is what Karoline Leavitt said today. Yesterday, actually.
Jack, thank you, Caroline. Following up on Gabe's question, you said that the follow-up strike was lawful. What law is it that allows no survivors? The strike conducted on September 2nd was conducted in self-defense to protect Americans in vital United States interests. The strike was conducted in international waters and in accordance with the law of armed conflict.
Law of armed conflict. Let's look that up. Law of armed conflict. No survivors. Okay. The law of armed conflict regarding the incident involving U.S. military strikes on suspected drop-outs raised significant legal questions. The Secretary of Defense issued a directive to kill everybody, which some experts argue constitutes a war crime. It could constitute as a war crime because, let's say you're trying to unalive let's say you do like a drone strike, right? And then you send the soldiers to make sure that they hit it. Usually if they're not being treated as a threat, you're supposed to take them as prisoners, right? But the thing is, we're not in a war. So will that constitute the Geneva Convention? Because the ones that could declare war is Congress, right? Congress has the power to do wars. Well, it has to go through them, through the Constitution. Legal experts say that such are unlawful, particularly when they result in the deaths of individuals who are not engaged in hostilities. I do agree, like if they have fentanyl or something like that, destroy it. But obviously they're not a threat anymore. They're floating in the water. So why double tap? Why double tap? Let's see what the experts say. What do the experts say? Double tap. Venezuela boat. Let's see what the experts say.
In addition to historian Dana Frank, we're joined by Spencer Ackerman, the Pulitzer Prize and National Magazine award-winning reporter, author of Reign of Terror, How the 9/11 Era Destabilized America and Produced Trump, and Terror Reaches South America. As Rafa, who was supposed to spend the rest of his life in jail.
Yeah, what's the difference? This is what I don't get. Why do they want to take out Maduro? Because he's such a bad guy. But Trump, Honduran president, pardon. I don't get it. How come they want to take out Maduro? Saying Maduro's regime and this and that. But they just released this guy.
Tonight, the former president of Honduras, serving time in a U.S. prison, walking free after a pardon from President Donald Trump over the weekend. Juan Orlando Hernandez was serving a 45-year federal prison sentence after being convicted on drugs and weapons smuggling charges just last year. Word reaching his wife and adult children at their home in the country's capital.
So they let this guy go. Trump pardoned him because he said that the people in Honduras said that they fabricated the evidence. Even though he got tried and convicted, not in Honduras, it was in the United States by a jury. Does that mean the jury got it wrong? Then what faith do we have in our system?
Defending the decision aboard Air Force One.
Well, I was asked by Honduras, many of the people of Honduras, they said it was a Biden setup. I don't mean Biden. Look, Biden didn't know he was alive, but it was.
He was asked by Hondurans, many people of Honduras. Many people in Venezuela are saying Maduro is not a drug trafficker. Are you going to pardon him? Because it looks like we're about to bomb him. What? See, this is what I don't like. Don't get me wrong. I do like some Trump's policies. But I don't like how, well, I guess every politician does this. They fix their agendas and, they do, they're not consistent with what they say and what they do,
People that surround the resolute.
It wasn't Biden set up. I don't mean Biden. What?
Very little time, and the people of Honduras really thought he was set up, and it was a terrible thing. He was the president of the country.
So, what's the difference with the Honduran ex-president and Maduro? The Honduran ex-president got convicted by a jury in the United States of being a drug trafficker. He got 45 years. Trump saying that Maduro is head of the largest cartel in South America, selling drugs over here. What's the difference between that and this guy? There's no difference. And this guy actually got convicted. Maduro, we haven't really seen any evidence other than saying that he's doing what he's doing. We just know that they're about to invade Venezuela. But nobody's given us definitive evidence.
And they basically said he was a drug dealer because he was the president of the country. And they said it was a Biden administration setup. And I looked at the facts and I agreed with them.
Pardon drawing harsh criticism.
They were saying he was a drug thing because he was the president of the country. What's the difference between that and Maduro? It's the same thing. Why pick and choose?
Sides of the aisle as tensions continue to ramp up between the U.S. and Venezuela, specifically its leader Nicolas Maduro, who Trump is accused of leading a drug cartel. Republican Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana posting on X, "Why would we want to pardon this guy and go after Maduro for running drugs into the United States? Lock up every drug runner. Don't understand why."
Why would you pardon this guy and then go after Maduro for running drugs into the United States? Lock every.
He is being
I
pardoned.
don't understand why he's getting pardoned either.
Tim Kaine had this to say on CBS's Face the Nation.
He was the leader of one of the largest criminal enterprises that has ever been subject to a conviction in U.S. courts. And less than 1 year into a sentence, President Trump is pardoning him, suggesting that President Trump cares nothing about narco trafficking.
Tonight, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York declining to comment, while one of Hernandez's attorneys saying, "A great injustice has been righted, and we are so hopeful."
A great injustice has been righted, and we are so hopeful that the future partnership of the United States Honduras. How? What's the difference between that and what Maduro is doing? That's what I don't get. That's what I don't get. What's the difference between what he's doing, what Maduro is doing, and this guy? Why pardon this guy? Because he's saying the people in the Honduras said that he was wrongfully prosecuted. But he got prosecuted and he was tried in the United States. So if the Venezuelan people are saying Maduro is not a drug trafficker or whatever, he's not doing that, does that mean we gotta pardon him too? Because we got about, how much is that? 25% of the Navy outside Venezuela right now. You can't pick and choose. And that's why he's losing a lot of support. Because he's not consistent. He's not consistent at all. I'm sorry. So, I don't know. It's getting crazy times. Crazy times.
For the future partnership of the United States and Honduras. Hernandez had been appealing his conviction while serving time, and for years refuted allegations saying,
"Reitero mi rechazo total en nombre del pueblo hondureño al señalamiento que nuestro país es un narcoestado."
He was ultimately detained in 2022, appearing shackled and paraded before cameras, arrested in his home and then extradited to the U.S. to stand trial. The pardon promise comes on the same weekend millions of Hondurans went to the polls to
It looks like the country's behind him getting arrested.
president.
And with that, George Solis joins us live from Miami. George, President Trump weighing in on that close.
It looked like the whole country was trying to get him arrested. I understand, like, it's crazy. 1 second, guys. It's crazy how this time sure just pick and choose. That's why he's losing a lot of support because of that. They're not consistent. Not consistent at all. Anyway, what was it? The law? It's crazy. Oh, let's see the cabinet.
Are you all set? Everybody ready? It's nice to be with you. Welcome to the final cabinet meeting of 2025, a year that will go down as the most consequential and successful first year of any administration. They're saying that, not me. Oh, I say it too, actually, but a lot of people are saying it. And a lot of that is thanks to the men and women in the cabinet. New and improved cabinet room, I might add. Took pictures down from the vaults. We have vaults downstairs with lots of pictures that haven't been exposed to the world for, in many cases, over 100 years. We brought them up, and we're using them as they should be used. But the cabinet room looks beautiful, like it should now. The Oval Office looks beautiful, like it should. It was not. It was like the rest of
the highlights.
Disrepair. 1 year ago, our country was dead, and said to me by many leaders, we had a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's true. The hottest country anywhere in the world.
Is there?
From Japan a lot. We just had Toyota's.
We need the highlights. Highlights. Let's find this guy.
Donald Trump is having a disastrous cabinet meeting right now where he's talking about getting an A on a cognitive test. He's talking about the word affordability is a scam. He's saying he really needs a...
Wait, how many MRIs has Trump gotten? Because I heard that he got another MRI, but didn't he just get one a couple months ago? Look at this #1 Google thing. White House said Trump underwent MRI and heart at stomach in October. His physician was normal. They have a lot of MRIs though.
Peace Prize. It's one of the biggest meltdowns we've seen. I want to show you what's going down on this catastrophic Tuesday morning for Donald Trump. A reminder, make sure you subscribe to the Midas Touch YouTube channel. You saw Donald Trump attack us on his social media platform yesterday in connection with the interview I did with Attorney General Eric Holder. And then he went into a 400-post meltdown Trump did on his social media platform. So make sure you subscribe. You may think you're subscribed, but you wished everybody a great holiday week this week. What holiday are you talking about? Here, play this clip.
Actually, and I just want to wish everybody a great holiday. We've I think done a great job with the White House, bringing the White House back. You see the Palm Court that was redone.
Then Donald Trump talks about how he took a physical recently and that he got an A, and that it was a very hard cognitive exam, but he says he got an A, and people are like laughing at this, and it's just so freaking bizarre. Here, play this clip.
I took my physical. I got all A's, everything. But they said to me, would you like to take a cognitive test? I said, is it hard?
But he already took a couple of them. I think he took I think he took one in October and April.
I said, well, I'm a very smart person. Who was the last president to take one? No president has ever agreed to take one. Because when you get into the mid questions, meaning 10.
I think I've also heard that he's scared because I think his dad had dementia.
Question number 10, 11, 12, 28, 30, they get harder and harder. And they said, would you like to do it? I said, well, no reason to do it. Nobody's ever done it. I'll do it maybe, but there's really no reason. They said, sir, the problem is this is Walter Reed Hospital. And that's a military hospital. And that means that things are, sort of open. It's not like private where you have, if you do poorly, we'll have to, probably you'll find out. I said, I won't do poorly. I'm a smart person, not a stupid person. And as the doctor will tell you, I aced it. Right, Susie? I aced. I got every question right. And these are tough questions. These are questions that I would say 99.
My father-in-law, he got one of those. And her was just like, what'd you do yesterday? And like simple questions, like remember these words, and you gotta repeat them after. How's that? Oh, his dad, they have dementia.
9% of the people that I'm talking to right now, meaning the people that, from the fake news, would not do well in this.
Then Donald Trump says that Pete Hegseth, who we now know has been engaged in these war crimes, is doing a great job. Play this clip.
And then we said, let's change the name. So we changed it back to what it was, Department of War, and Pete's doing a great job. We ended 8 wars, think of that.
Then Donald Trump at this cabinet meeting talks about how thirsty he is for a Nobel Peace Prize. And he's like, I did 8 wars. I stopped 8 wars. And people are like, oh, but you got to stop the war in Ukraine. And I'm like, but I did 8 wars. Why? Give me the Nobel Peace Prize now. What the hell is this guy talking about? You know how weak and pathetic this looks? Here, play this clip.
Ended 8 wars, think of that. 8 wars, but we're going to do one more, I think. I hope.
Yeah, but he's making Ukraine basically give up territory to Russia. Like he's not he what he does to Ukraine, he doesn't do to Russia. 1 second. Sorry, I forgot to approve that something real quick. 1 second, guys. I forgot to approve something. I forgot to do something. I didn't play the thing.
Every time I end a war, they say if President Trump ends that war, he's going to get the Nobel Prize. If I end that war, well, he won't get it for that war, but if he ever gets it for the next war, now they're saying if he ever ends the war with Russia and Ukraine, he's going to get the Nobel Prize. What about the other 8 wars? India, Pakistan. Think of all the wars I ended. I should get the Nobel Prize for every war, but I don't want to be greedy.
Then Donald Trump says that there's been no murders in Washington, D.C. is how he says it. What are you talking? Do you know what just happened this weekend involving the National Guard that you put there with an individual you granted asylum to in April? This is what Donald Trump says. Also, there's been a lot of murders in Washington, D.C. And we've showed you that the murder rate is basically where it was before. Here, play this clip.
Embarrassment that the city, the capital of this country, could have numbers like that. And Washington now is, no murders, no this. It's been a miracle also what happened here. And now we're in Memphis and we're going to New Orleans pretty soon. The governor called me. He'd like to have us go there. Governor Landry, great guy, great governor.
Then Donald Trump says that the word affordability is one massive scam. I guess the massive scam is when you ran on the fact that you said you were going to make things more affordable. Here, play this clip.
We're on prices now for energy, but for
I like it when people are like, shout out to this channel, Midas.
gasoline are really low, electricity's coming down, and when that comes down, everything.
Bro, electricity's not coming down. Also, I be paying double of what I paid last year.
Comes down, but the word.
I've been paying double of what I paid last year.
They say it and then they go into the next subject, and everyone thinks, oh, they had lower prices. No, they had the worst inflation in the history of our country.
Just one more reminder, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel right now. We're trying
shout
to
out to this guy.
Subscribers before this month is over. As Donald Trump was having that disastrous cabinet meeting, the White House account put up this vile video where they were mocking migrants. And it says, have you ever tried this one? Bye bye. And they were using Sabrina Carpenter's music. And then the superstar musician Sabrina Carpenter responded, this video is evil and disgusting.
How the hardest be saying that to them?
Ever involve me or my music to benefit your inhumane agenda. Well done, Sabrina Carpenter. Also, the Pope called out Donald Trump today as well for the threats of invasion against Venezuela and for Trump's treatment of migrants. Back to the disastrous cabinet meeting, Donald Trump says that inflation has been stopped in its tracks. Inflation is gone, he says. Since last January,
inflation is not gone. I've been paying double of what I used to pay last year. Electricity, I've never paid over $200 in the summer for electricity. And I was paying that like $240 all summer long. Max was like 180, 170 max. That's blasting AC. And this year, one of them was like 240, 250. I was like, what?
Since last January, we've stopped inflation in its tracks. And there is still more to do. There's always more to do, but we have it down to a very good level. It's going to go down a little bit further. You want to have a little tiny bit of inflation. Otherwise, that's not good either. Then you have a thing called deflation. And deflation can be worse than inflation.
And then Donald Trump
I think I'd rather have deflation than inflation. I'd rather things cost less.
And says that he's reduced prescription drug prices by 200, 300, 600, 800%. Not only is it false, but it's impossible. You can't reduce prices by 800% unless the pharmaceutical company is paying you money.
That's facts.
Numbers work. Here, play this clip.
Yeah, if he lower down to 800%, that means they're paying you to take the medication. Sorry, excuse me. I don't think nobody's ever doing that.
Slash drug prices by 200%, 300%, 400%, 500%, 600%, 700%, 800%. Nobody's ever heard of it before because I instituted favored nations and no nation agreed to do it. And then I said to the nation,
thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate it.
I'm going to charge you 100% tariff.
And then Trump continues to talk about his health. You see this as a spot that gets him very nervous. He's like, people say, is Trump in good health? Is Trump in good health? Take a look at me. Do I look like I'm in great health? No, you don't. You actually look horrible right now. And you look like your mind is literally complete mush at this point. Here, play this clip.
But you always find something new. Like, is he in good health? Biden was great, but is Trump in good health? I sit here, I do 4 news conferences a day. I ask questions from very intelligent lunatics, you people. I give the right answers. There's never a scandal. There's never a problem. I give you answers that solve your little problems. You go back and you can't find anything, but you do stories about Biden was in wonderful health. The guy didn't do a news conference for 8 months. If I go one day, I had one day where I didn't do a news conference, there's something wrong with the president. You people are crazy. I'll let you know when there's something wrong. There will be someday. That's going to happen to all of us. But right now, I think I'm sharper than I was 25 years ago. But who the hell knows? By the way.
Then we heard from war criminal Pete Hegseth, the head of the Department of War
The
Crimes.
double tap.
And Pete Hegseth says, we've only just begun the operation against the narco boats. You see what we did there in September? We're going to keep on doing it over and over again. What a sick and disgusting war criminal this individual is. Here, play this clip.
I'll say again, we've only just begun striking narco boats and putting narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean because they've been poisoning the American people. And Joe Biden tried to approach it with kid gloves. Allow them to come across the border, cartels take over community, 20 million people, hundreds of...
Okay, what's the difference between this one and the Honduran ex-president? Maduro hasn't gotten convicted by a jury. The ex-president has. So why you gonna leave him go? Because he said that people from Honduras were saying that he was wrongfully prosecuted. Okay, if he was wrongly prosecuted, what's the difference between him and Maduro? There's no difference, bro.
Americans poison, and President Trump said, no, we're taking the gloves off. We're taking the fight to these designated terror organizations, and it's exactly what we're doing. So we're stopping the drugs, we're striking the boats, we're defeating narco terrorists, and we're standing...
And you may say one thing, that drugs coming in through the sea by sea are down 91%.
And one more reminder, make sure you hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. Let's get to 6 million subscribers this month. Now, Donald Trump continues to talk about how he goes, some people will correct me because they always love to correct me, even though I'm right about everything. Here, play this clip.
Now, some people will correct me because they always love to correct me, even though I'm right about everything. But some people like to correct me and they say 48 years. I say it's not 48 years, it's much more. But they say it's the worst inflation that we've had in 48 years.
Then Donald Trump brags about the Lincoln bedroom and how he redid the Lincoln bedroom and he put tiles in the bathroom. While Americans can't afford things, Donald, while you're psychologically torturing people living paycheck to paycheck, while you're ripping away the health care from people, you're talking about putting new tiles in the Lincoln bedroom and building golden ballrooms. Anyway, here, play this clip.
See the palm court that was redone. The Lincoln bedroom was redone. The Lincoln bathroom is now gorgeous like it should have been. It was terrible green tile that was never the way it was supposed to be. It was done in the 1940s, actually, but it was not proper. And it's we're restoring the White House just like we're restoring the country, and people are thrilled. But we the first
that ballroom was unnecessary. How many times that they can actually use it? You know, for people, like, that was useless. What's it?
I see the wreaths on the windows. I've never seen that before.
And generals and Navy SEAL Team 6 under the bus as though it was their decision to engage in the war crimes. He's like, we always have the back of the decisions made by our admirals and commanders. They have to make.
But didn't the Secretary of War say that he authorized the double tap? Let me see. Sorry, he's getting messages now. People are messaging me now. Secretary of approves double strike. I'm pretty sure he said that he approved the double strike. The double tap. I don't really trust Al Jazeera. Man, who's the most trustworthy site? Because a lot of them have their own agendas. I gotta lie. The White House account of who gave the order to hit that alleged drug smuggling boat, the second that conflicted what President Trump told reporters a day earlier. When he asked about reports that the U.S. military killed 2 survivors of an early strike on a boat suspect of ferrying drugs to the Caribbean in September, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt said Trump ordered everyone to be killed aboard the boat. The initial order from Defense Secretary Pete Hex said, so they're just throwing each other on the bus. Trump said that he authorized it, and now this guy saying that he authorized it. But now they're saying that the admiral did it. However, when asked about the reports on the Air Force One on Sunday, Trump said he wouldn't have wanted a second strike to kill survivors and that Hexa denied ordering it. So now he's saying Hexa didn't say anything. I don't know anything about it, Trump said. When asked about the report, Hexa said that he did not say that, and I believe him. But no, I wouldn't have wanted that. Not a second strike. The first strike was very lethal. It was fine. And if there was 2 people around, and it was fine. And if there were 2 people around, but Pete said that didn't happen. I have a great confidence. This keep throwing each other on the bus, bro. According to Washington Post, Hexa allegedly gave a second spoken order ahead of the September 2nd operation. Everybody aboard the suspect drop boat. Initial strike left 2 survivors. Those are the ones they picked up and they sent them back to Colombia, I think it was. Yes, the second strike initially left 2 survivors clinging to the boat. Brady, who became Commander of Special Operations in October, he then ordered a second strike in order to comply with Hexa's order and to ensure survivors couldn't call on other traffickers to retrieve them and their cargo. Bro, if the United States government just threw 2 bombs at you, you're not gonna come back. You're not gonna come back to go pick up whatever you were transporting. That, oh my gosh. You're telling me that they just got like they had a strike, right? By miracle they survived. You're telling me that they're gonna contact their people to send more people to the area you just got striked at to retrieve the cargo. How does that make sense? How does that make sense, chat? I just don't get how does that make sense? It's crazy. One person filmed with details September 2nd incident confirmed that there were survivors from the initial strike on the Boeing, and the survivors were in the sub. That strikes confirmed though. Oh man. It's just getting crazy and crazy out here.
Split-second decisions, and we support them. This was your operation, Hegseth, and by the way, everybody in that chain of command, you, the Admiral, SEAL Team 6, everybody are now war criminals who likely will be tried in war tribunals in the future as a result of your heinous conduct. Play this clip.
Approach, and I will just end by saying, as President Trump always has our back, we always have the back of our commanders who are making decisions in difficult situations, and we do in this case and all these strikes. They're making judgment calls and ensuring that they defend the American people. They've done the right things.
Scam artist Howard Lutnick, who
I think the Democrats win next year. It's gonna be crazy.
All these deals with Japan and South Korea, we would have a 90-10 split, 90% to the U.S., 10%, to the other country, which never made sense. So now the new scam is we're doing 50-50 deals, and for some reason, Japan and South Korea should build American nuclear. What the hell are you talking about? Here, play this clip right here.
Then we go to Japan and Korea. They offer us $750 billion in cash to build in America at the president's direction. And we're going to start as an example, nuclear, right? We need to have a nuclear arsenal in America of power, the generation of power. So we're going to build hundreds of billions of dollars financed by the Japanese and the Koreans, meaning they give us the money, we build it here, and we split the cash flow 50-50. We're going to build ships, $150 billion worth of ships in America.
Wait, so the Koreans and the Japanese are sending $750 billion to the U.S. to build nuclear plants instead of spending $750 billion in their countries to build nuclear plants. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. So instead of them investing $750 billion in their own country, they're gonna invest $750 billion here.
America.
Okay.
It changes the way things work, right?
By the way, while all of that's going down, Donald Trump has sent his stooges, Witkoff and Kushner. They're in Russia right now, meeting with Vladimir Putin. There's video of them walking the streets in Moscow right there. The traitors who laundered Russia's plan of surrender against Ukraine. And
That's
while
crazy.
they're there in Moscow, Putin says, this is a statement that Putin put out today, if Europe wants to fight war, we are ready right now. Europeans do not have a peaceful agenda. They're on the side of war. Europeans hinder U.S. administration and Trump to reach peace through talks. So you see, it's Putin and Trump against Europe, Canada, UK, Australia, and that's the alliance right now, right? And Putin knows the wedge that exists. He doesn't have to do it. Trump supports Putin over NATO and over Europe. Meanwhile, you have NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte saying, we're not even talking about this 28-point plan of surrender. We've moved past that plan. Oh, by the way, on the same day that, as I mentioned this before, Sabrina Carpenter condemning the Trump regime. Also, you have Pope Leo urging Trump not to attempt a military ouster in Venezuela. So while Donald Trump's out there also saying we have to get rid of Maduro and we need to invade because he's a narco drug trafficker, it's now official. Juan Orlando Hernandez.
This is a guy who's saying, they say Maduro's a drug trafficker or whatever, but they let this guy free when he got tried by a jury in the United States for the same offense, but he actually got found guilty here. But he let him go because the Honduran people of Honduras, were saying that they got it wrong, that he got set up. Make it make sense. So let's say Maduro's people, the Venezuelan people, are saying, no, he's not a drug whatever. Is Trump gonna let him go? Because I don't think so. That's 25% of our Navy fleet outside Venezuela. But you're telling me the Honduran president, the one that got tried for the same offense by a jury of our peers in the United States with evidence, got a pardon because Trump said that they were unfair to him. I haven't seen no sign, no evidence that Maduro has been trafficking over here. So, but this guy actually got convicted by a jury in the United States. Make it make sense.
As the former president of Honduras, one of the biggest narco-terrorists and drug traffickers, who said we need to shove the drugs up the nose of those gringos, and was sentenced to 45 years
He actually said that
here in the United States after being federally prosecuted. He was big with the Sinaloa cartel and El Chapo. He's now a free man. Trump has officially set Juan Orlando Hernandez free. This guy brought in over 400 tons of cocaine. But for Donald Trump, Trump's on the side of narco-terrorists. Trump's on the side of Trump is a
he got 45 years sentence and they let him go. That's why I don't get the whole Maduro thing. I think they just want regime change over there. And the pretext is that he's doing whatever drugs or whatever. Because this guy actually got convicted, like I said. Juan Orlando Hernandez got convicted for 45-year sentence for bringing 400 tons of the white. At the largest and most violent conspiracies in the world. He even said his goal was to shove the drugs right up to the noses of the gringos. He got let go. Because Trump said that the Honduran people say he got set up. Even though he got tried in the U.S. with evidence to 45 years. Make it make sense.
Let's just face it. Meanwhile, you have you have Sean Duffy, transportation secretary, at this cabinet meeting saying we need to make sure that people don't wear pajamas at the airport. Play this clip.
Get that project operational. And, you know, Mr. President, a lot of us, I fly commercially, I fly back by the bathrooms. I don't know why that happens. They put me in the back. You know, we've asked Americans to bring their better selves, to bring civility back to travel, to say, listen, let's say please and thank you. And if you have someone's pregnant on your flight and you're as strong as Pete is, well, pick up the bag and help her put it in the overhead bin. Let's be nice to each other, is what we've asked. Maybe not wear pajamas or slippers on the airplane. And I think it's been received fairly well, and I think we can all have a better travel experience when we do that.
And finally, from this morning, Donald Trump talking about seizing companies. He goes, I took over Intel. Yeah, you're literally describing a form of communism right here that benefits right-wing oligarchs. Okay, that's what the system is. So when they're all like, oh, socialism because you want to give Americans health care. Nah, what we have right now is a
sometimes I don't agree with sometimes what this guy says, but he's making a fair point right there. The Republican Party, right, says not to socialism and all that, but they're taking over every company. Every company has to go through the government to operate, okay, and get favors. Doesn't that remind you of what Russia's doing with their everything controlling the state, the news? Like I just showed you right here. I just showed you that Kansas. He's a Kansas mayor that got found out that he voted for Trump 3 times and voted in his local election 4 times as a permanent resident. He got hit with election fraud. I hate this picking and choosing, and that's what I'm saying. Trump's losing a lot of support because he's not consistent. He's saying Maduro is a narco, whatever, terrorist or whatever, but then he's letting go somebody who actually got convicted for the crime in the United States.
Soviet-style oligarchical communist regime under Donald Trump. They rip away health care from the people. They destroy the lives of everyday Americans, and they seize control of corporations to benefit oligarchs. Anyway, play this clip.
You know, one thing we will mention, so they came to see me from Intel, and they had a problem. I said, look, we'll fix your problem, but I think the United States is entitled to 10% of your company. And the chairman looked at me and he goes, You have a deal. Tell them, how much money have we made since I made that deal?
It's only 40 billion.
40 billion. We made $40 billion. That was, what, 3 months ago? Does anybody write about it? Nobody writes about it.
How's this misinformation?
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Remember to subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thanks for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps.
I just got hit for misinformation on TikTok.
And more exclusive content only available.
That's crazy. How's that misinformation, TikTok? I literally just wrote it. I just literally read what it says on the as a fact. Whatever, I don't get that many viewers over there. It's just crazy. Anyway, is there anything else we should talk about today? Anything else? Let's see what's going on CNN. Venezuela. Let's see what else. I think we talked about mostly everything. Oh, Michael and Susan Dell donating $6.25 billion to fund Trump accounts. Oh, that's cool. Michael and Susan Dell on Tuesday announced that they are donating $6.25 billion to fund investment accounts for at least 25 million American children. The enormous pledge will go towards helping fund Trump accounts and a new initiative that offers investment accounts for children. The Trump accounts were established as a part of President Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act and are set to launch in 2026. The Treasury Department is set to deposit $1,000 into the accounts of every eligible U.S. citizen child born from January 2025 through December 31st, 2028. The Dell's charitable gift will go towards children ages 10 and under who were born before the cutoff for the Treasury's fund, and the Dell's donation will fund $250,000 deposit for investment accounts for at least 25 million children, resulting in a total gift of $6.25 billion. In one of the largest private investments in American children history, according to investment nonprofit. This is like a 401k for kids. If you think about the power compounding and what these accounts are likely to content, it's super significant. They all finance tech clients, net worth 148. Wow, this is a big tax cut. He probably was gonna pay that in taxes. He just donated it. I mean, I'm not hating on it. It's crazy. Well, at least we got some good news out of this, right? Guys, just be careful. The whole world's going crazy. I ain't gonna lie. And like I said, I'm not Republican or Democrat. I'm like in the middle. I like some of this, I like some of that, but I do call it out whenever they're picking and choosing. I don't like the picking and choosing, because their events and their agendas by affecting all of us. And I think all of us should be critical thinkers. Like I said, Fox News hasn't covered how there's a Kansas mayor that voted for Trump 3 times. And 4 times he voted in his local elections at the state level. Fox News hasn't reported that. But if he would have been Hispanic, well, he is Hispanic actually. He's a Mexican descent, Mexican heritage, as he voted as a lawful permanent resident. But if he was Mexican and Democrat, this news would have blown up. But since this guy was a hardcore Republican, no, the crickets. I don't think that's right. And like I said, I think that's why they're losing a lot of supporters, because they're picking and choosing, and a lot of people are noticing that. So like I said, I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm like in the middle. I like some of this, I like some of that. I don't like some of the Democrats' policies, But I'm also kind of call them out on that. Like Biden shouldn't have let that many Venezuelans out here. Putting TikTok videos, how they're living tax-free, and that the taxpayers were paying for their hotels, their meals. I don't think that was right either. And I think right now, what's happening right now with the immigration system is basically it's because Biden's fault. He shouldn't have let that many people like that. on the temporary protected status and let them live off welfare. Because not everybody got tainted who's been living here legally, not living off the welfare, not living off the government, paying taxes, paying to Medicaid, and they got burned out because of what Biden did. Like I said, I'm not left or right. I'm in the middle. I agree with this, I agree with that, a little bit of this. I don't agree with the violence that's be happening from ICE officers and vice versa from the protesters. But I agree that everybody's frustrated in this country. I think that's what has to do a lot with it. Thank you guys for joining me. I think I have to do some stuff. I've been on for an hour and 16 minutes. But if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the GMV Pod on Facebook, GMV Pod on TikTok, GMV Pod on Instagram, GMV Pod on YouTube. I'm gonna try to go online more often, but I am reporting all the news. So subscribe. Thank you for everybody who's been hanging out with me. I appreciate y'all. You guys are the MVPs. And I'll see you guys on the next live. Hopefully in a couple days, maybe Thursday. Maybe Thursday I'll go live again and catch up with the news.